We want to start with Terraform. Terraform is an open source tool, a platform created by HashiCorp, right? With Terraform, you can automate infrastructure on any cloud. With Terraform, you can automate on AWS, Google Cloud Platform, and mention it, right? Azure, mention it. So that is what is possible with Terraform. Now, we also see that Terraform is seen to deliver infrastructure as code. What is infrastructure as code, right? It's all about being able to create infrastructure using a file or files, right? You want to write codes in a file, right? In a .cf file, and run it, and voila, you see you have infrastructure created, right? Infrastructure like EC2, virtual machine, elastic IP, security group, just to mention a few, right? So these are what you can do with Terraform. So how do we really describe Terraform? We can say Terraform is a tool used for creating, managing, and improving or modifying infrastructure. Now, with Terraform, you can use it to create an EC2 instance or multiple EC2 instances, right? So why do you even want to use Terraform? If you can just go to your GUI and create an instance, there are situations where you might need to create 50 instances, 100 instances, right? With Terraform, it takes you the same effort, right, to create one or to create 100. All you need to do is to put in the appropriate code and you've got it. Okay, so now we said Terraform is able to automate infrastructure on any cloud. Are there alternatives? Yes, we can look at CloudFormation. However, CloudFormation has restrictions, right? CloudFormation is made by Amazon for AWS alone, right? So CloudFormation only supports a single platform, which is AWS, unlike Terraform that supports many platforms, right? So also, what else is a major difference, right? With Terraform, you see that Terraform is written using HashiCorp configuration language to provision resources from any infrastructure provider, and it is fully compatible with JSON. So CloudFormation uses JSON or YAML and has a limit of 51,000 bytes for the template body on its own. Okay, so that is that with Terraform. Also, I'm sure we've heard a lot about Ansible, right? So what is Ansible and how is it different from Terraform? But let's start with what are the similarities between Ansible and Terraform. They are both open source tools, right? But the difference is that Terraform is to create infrastructure, right? For example, you are looking at creating a virtual machine like EC2 instance. But Ansible, on the other hand, deals with configuration management, right? The strong point for Ansible is configuration management. when you've created the infrastructure and you want to install packages on it, Ansible is your go-to tool, right? When you've created the infrastructure and you want to deploy applications, right? Like your deployment, you want to use your Ansible playbooks to get deployment done. So basically, Ansible is for configuration management, while Terraform is ideal for creating, managing, and improving or modifying infrastructure. So we'll look at an example where we'll explain how all this work, creating, managing, and improving infrastructure. Okay, so what else do we need to look at now? So we've looked at the, we've looked at it. Okay, so this is about all for now. Let's go on and look at how we can get started with Terraform. Now, to use Terraform, it is important to know that we need to bring Terraform into our environment, right? Just as we've done with Git, right? We install Git into the environment and we're able to use Git, right? So also with Terraform, you need to bring it to your environment. So that's the first thing we need to do. Okay, so once we've agreed on that, so let's see how we can bring it into our environment. So let's say the first thing I want to do is to create an instance, right? A server. I want to have my Terraform server. So let's see. Let's launch an instance and call this Terraform. I'll call this Terraform. Let's call it Terraform. Okay, so let's call this Terraform and I'll scroll. I want to create a Red Hat server, right? Take note of this. It will be important as we proceed. AMI ID, okay? So what else should we look at? Let's look at, we can use this free tier eligible, T2 micro. Let's take a note of this instance type. It will be useful as we proceed. So what else do I want? I want to use my existing key pair and I want to allow SSH traffic, right? I can select from an existing security group, right? And I can decide to create a new security group, okay? So let's say I'm creating a new security group, right? Just want to keep it simple and allow SSH traffic from anywhere, okay? I want to leave the root volume as it is. Then I launch my instance. So success, so instance launched. Let's go back to here. So let's see what we have pending. So that's Terraform. So this is my public IP address. Let me start with this. Okay, let's start a new session into SSH, right? I want to specify username because this is a Red Hat server. So I'm looking at ec2-user, okay? And advanced SSH, I want to use private key, okay? Ademola is the key pair. Ademola, okay. So I okay to that. And hopefully it's done. Okay, so that's fine. So we are in. Now that we are in, what do we want to do, right? We want to install Terraform. We want to bring Terraform into our environment, right? So what do we need to do? Okay, before we do that, I have a script, right? I have a script here. Okay, the script is in this directory, right? Package in this repository, package dash installation dash scripts is in tech.ca. Okay, so in this repository, I have several files, right? So I have Terraform installation script here. So let's see what we can do with this. This one is specifically for a Red Hat instance, right? But what happens if you have a different kind of AMI, right? Or a different kind of instance? Would this also be able to work? Yes, you can make it work, like modifying those particular things that have to do with Red Hat instance and putting in what relates to what you want to work with. Okay, let's take a look at this and see what we can do. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is to upgrade our system and packages. We are not doing that because this is a new instance. So I assume everything is up to date. So I'm not running this command. So that's why I commented it out. Okay. So the next thing we want to do is to install vim, wget, and unzip, right? So these packages will get us started, right? So these are the packages we are installing. So we are installing vim. I want to be able to view our files with different colors, right? I want to install wget to be able to get the software that we want to install, right? Then I want to use this unzip to unzip that software, okay? So now I can check out terraform.io/downloads to see, to ascertain the version to download, right? So anyway, we'll take a look at that, but this is what we are downloading, right? This is what we are getting, right? I just got that from that website. So we can, after doing that, we can now extract the Terraform software into the /usr/local/bin, so that when we run the Terraform command from anywhere, it will work, okay? So we are extracting from the zip folder, zip file into, we are extracting it and placing it in the bin directory, okay? Then we can use this to check the version of Terraform we have, and with this, we can see some Terraform commands. So that's about all. So let's copy this. Okay, but before we copy, let's take a look at where you see the different downloads. Let's put it there. Different downloads. Okay, so you can see, can download for Mac OS, Windows, Linux is where we are downloading, and we are downloading the Red Hat server. So if you scroll down, you see 1.2.5 is the most recent version. And if you click on this, it downloads on here, but this is not what we want. Okay, so we want to be able to copy this, right? Copy link address. See, let's see what it displays here. 1.2.5 underscore Linux underscore AMD64.zip. Okay, so you can see it tallies with what I have here. Okay, so this is what we are working with. So now that we've established that, let's go on and install Terraform on our server. Okay, so we want to vi into a file called install.sh, right? Install.sh. So once we do this, we want to paste what we've copied, right? No point going over this again. We've done that. So we want to escape column WQ, okay? Escape column WQ. Okay, escape dollar WQ. So now we can enter. So now that we've done this. So what do we want to do? We want to run the script to get everything going. So sh install.sh, okay? So I want to enter 1, yes, okay, because I want to continue with my Terraform installation. Okay, let's see what we get. Okay. So once we are done installing Terraform, right, on this environment, we want to go to AWS to create a user, with programmatic access, right, to be able to run Terraform to carry out, to run as Terraform to carry out several tasks. Okay, so here we are. The installation is complete. So we can see the version here, right? This is the version of Terraform we have. So 1.2.5, okay? And these are some of Terraform's very important commands, right? Terraform init, right? It will prepare your working directory for other commands, just as we had in Git, where we had to install Git in the directory, initialize Git in the directory before we could get anything done, or we could run other commands. So also with Terraform, we need to initialize Git. We need to put Git in it, right? In the directory that wants to work. We want to put Terraform. We want to initialize Terraform in the directory where we want to run our commands, okay? So validate will help us check whether the configuration is valid. Plan will show changes required by the current configuration when we run the apply command. And apply command will create or update the infrastructure. Remember, we said with Terraform, we can create and improve, right? So when you update, it's like improving, right? So we also have Terraform destroy, which will delete or destroy any infrastructure that we've created, okay? So also format, okay, I should try to do something to show this, right? Format, you can format your configuration in the standard size, standard style, okay? So we just look at these options and let's get started. So before we get started, we've installed Terraform. So what else should we do? Let's go back to AWS and create a user, right? So in this session, I want us to be able to create a script that can create an EC2 instance for us, okay? So that way we introduce ourselves, looking at it the simple way, then as we progress and we start to do some bit more complex tasks, we'll be able to appreciate what we are doing, okay? So also, I don't know whether I mentioned it, the extension to be used for Terraform files is .tf, right? .tf, Terraform, TF, .tf, okay? So that's the extension to be used for Terraform scripts for it to run, right? Run the Terraform command, it will run on the .tf file, okay? So let's see what we have. So now we are back at, let's close this. Let's go search for want to create a user with programmatic access, okay? So I want to create a user. Let's add a user. I want to call this user Terraform user. Let me call this user Terraform user. Terraform user, okay? So this is the name of the user I'm creating. I can create multiple users, but for the purpose of this, I'm just creating one user, right? So this user is not going to use password to log in the way we log in, but this user needs access key, right? To be able to carry out his task. Terraform user, so we select programmatic access, okay? Programmatic access. So this enables an access key ID and secret access key for AWS API, CLI, SDK, and other development tools, right? Which is an example of this tool we are using, Terraform. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is to go to permissions, right? So I don't have a user group I've created, which I want to add this guy to. I want to, for the purpose of this session, I want to be able to create EC2 instances, right? So I'm looking for an access from the existing policy that can allow this guy to EC2, what do I want? Full, let's say full access, right? So I want this guy to have EC2 full access, right? So to create elastic EC2, right? So let's see what we have. So EC2 next, right? So what else? This is an optional field. I can decide to leave it blank, right? So I want to, okay, so now here we are. We have created this guy, okay? So programmatic access with access key. So let's create user. So now that we've done this, so this guy, Terraform user, has been created. So let's save this information somewhere. So let me use, do I have Visual Studio Code? Let's use this, Visual Studio Code, okay. Let's use Visual Studio Code. I have a file, right? In my desktop, let's see, file, open folder. I have this file called Terraform Notes. I have this directory called Terraform Notes. So it's blank at the moment. So I want to be able to put stuff in it, okay? So let's say, let's create this and say access codes, codes. Okay, so let's call this access codes. So I'll call this AWS access. Okay, so what do I want to put here? AWS access. I want to put AWS access. I want to put, what do I want to put here? I want to put my, okay, so let me put user. The user is Terraform user. That's the name of the user. User. I just want to put this information here. I want to put what else? Terraform user. I want to put Terraform user. I want to also go ahead and put my Terraform user. What else do I want to put? I want to put key. Let's copy the key. I want to get the access key ID. That's another field. Access key ID. Access key ID. Paste. Put the access key ID. So let's copy the access key ID from the browser. Access key ID. So let's paste that here. And what else do I need? I need to save my secret access key. There's plenty of keys. Okay, secret access key. So what's the secret access key? Let's go copy. So secret access key, let's show it. It ends in J. So I copy that. It ends in J. So let me paste that here. Okay. things in here. So I'm fine. So what else do I want to do? So this fine. So now that we've done this, so we want to proceed to doing the main work, right? We've created an instance, we've installed Terraform in the server, in the terminal, we've created a programmatic access on AWS, right? And given the person Amazon EC2 full access, right? And now we've copied all the details we need. So now we need to start addressing business, right? So let's go here and create, let's clear this, right? So let's create a folder, a directory, and call this mkdir. We can call it first, right? Let's call this first.cf, right? So we want to make a directory, and let's call this directory, let's label it first, right? I want to have something different first. Let's call this first. Okay. So let's just make a directory and call it first, right? So this is the directory where we want to put this is where we want to get our work done, right? So we've made this directory first. At the moment, what do we have there? ls, nothing. This is a new directory. So what do we want to do? We want to run a script, right? And this script we want to be able to work on AWS and create an EC2 instance. Let me see. I think I created something earlier. Okay, I didn't. Okay. It was included in the installation scripts, the commands. Okay, so now that we have this, the first thing we want to do once we create this is to initialize Terraform. We want to initialize Terraform in this directory, right? So that we can work in it, right? So to initialize Terraform, what do we need to do? We say Terraform, this is a command, init, right? We put Terraform init. We initialize Terraform. Okay, so we've done this. No configuration files to begin working with Terraform, creating Terraform configuration files. Okay, so Terraform is initialized in an empty directory. Okay, so this tells us Terraform has been initialized in an empty directory. Okay, so what else do we need to do? Okay, so what we need to do is that we need to come in here and make Vim. I think we installed Vim. Okay, Vim into a file. Let's call this file first, right? This is our first file, .tf, right? We want to create a file and call it first.tf. Maybe to avoid confusion, let me use first this time for the file, .tf, right? First.tf. So this is the name of the file we are creating first, right? So with this file, we want to be able to create an AWS EC2 instance, okay? So the platform we are using for the purpose of this is AWS, okay? So we vim into a file called first.tf, right? Ordinarily, I would have wanted to come to the Visual Studio Code, create something, right? And call this, let's create, okay, I can come in here and create a file, that file, and call it first.tf, right? First.tf. So this is an option I have. Let me number it. Number one, first.tf, right? So let's say this is the file. I can come in here and do everything here, then copy it into my terminal, right? but I want to be able to explore something. There's a particular command I want to be able to show. So let me do this here first, right? Then we can copy it and put back in the folder so that we can, in the directory, so that we can use it later, right? So I want to insert, okay? So once I come in here, what do I want to do? I want to specify the provider, right? I want to specify the provider. So the provider we are using is AWS, right? We want to create an instance, and the provider we are using is AWS, right? AWS. So I want to open a curly bracket and close it, right? You are familiar with this, with Groovy, opening and closing. So I want to click on enter. Now that I'm here, what do I want to do? I want to create an EC2 instance, right? So, but side by side, for us to have a better understanding, I want us to go through the process of creating an instance, okay? So that we can appreciate what we are trying to do, okay? So while we are here, right, you see we are in global, right? This is because of this service we are using. So if we go and search for the EC2 services, okay, I think I saw it just now, favorites. What do I have? Okay. Let's compute. Let's search under compute, EC2, okay. So if we come here, you see this has changed, right? It's no longer global, but this is where I want to create my resource in, right? So I could select somewhere else, right? But I want to stick to where I was, okay? So let's have everything here. So I want to stay back at North Virginia, okay? So now that I'm in North Virginia, so I can see my instances running. I have just one instance, right? That's our Terraform server, right? So this is North Virginia. So firstly, we are trying to look at the provider we are using, right? So that's AWS. We've identified that. So we want to put that in. So we've put in the curly bracket and opened and closed it. So we want to come back here to the end and enter so that we can make a list, right? We want to put in some information in here, okay? So I want to put in some information like the region, right? Region. So you want to put a space, then equal to sign, then another space, okay? So I want to open and close, then go in between, right? The quotation mark. Then we need to go and get our region as it is, right? So this region is North Virginia. So we want to put in this, right? US-East-1, US-East-1. So we come here and we say US-East-1, okay? US-East-1, okay? So -1. Okay, so now we have this, that's the region. What else do you want to put? Remember, you want to create an instance using AWS, right? As a user, you need to be logged into AWS to be able to do this, right? But this is a program trying to get access, right? I remember we got some information, right? We got some information earlier on this user, this access code. We have access key ID, right? And we have secret access key. Access key ID and secret access key. So we are looking at access key and secret key, right? So let's go back here and get things figured out. So we are looking at access key and secret key. So first one is access key, right? So we come here, we specify the region. So we need to specify the access key. So Since there's space, use underscore. It's very important. Access key, then equal to sign, right? So we want to put the access key in between the quotes, which I've copied already. Is this what I copied? So this is actually, let me see, access key. I thought I copied it. Oh, this is secret key. Okay, so I can copy this now. Let me copy this. That's the access key. Okay, so let me rename this and call it secret key. Secret key. Okay, secret key. Okay, so let's bring in the access key. I've copied it now. Access key, access underscore key. Okay, access underscore key space equal to space open and close. Now we'll go in between. Okay, I want to paste that. So that's the access key, and this is our secret key. Okay, so once we have those in, so we want to proceed. Okay, now with this, you see, you are able to log into AWS, right? This guy, Terraform user, is able to log into AWS using these details. So what else do we want to do? So we want to specify the resource that we are trying to provision, right? So the resource here is the EC2 instance, as we discussed earlier, right? So we want to specify the resource. What's the resource? Okay. So, but to get along, right, I want us to click on launch instance so that we can follow this through, right? So the resource we want is an instance, right? We want to launch an instance, okay? So that's the first thing we want to do. That's the resource. So let's look at this. Where are we? Okay. Remember, our provider is AWS. Note that our provider could have been Google, right? It could have been Azure, So our provider this time around is AWS, okay? So the resource, you come here and put a space after specifying the resource. Then what else you want to do? You want to open and close, then come in between, right? And say, oh, what's that provider's name? AWS, right? Then you say underscore. So you are looking to get an instance, AWS instance, remember? AWS instance is what we are trying to get. So once we put this has to be in this format, right? Provider and the resource, right? Provider and what we are trying to provision, right? It could have been any other thing, right? So we have AWS instance. So this has to be like this. So the next part is the name you want to call it, right? What name do you want to call this? It could be EC2 instance, right? It could be anything, right? So whatever name you want to call it. This is not the tag, right? Let me show you something. This is not this tag. It is not this tag. We'll look at tag later, right? But the name you want to, how do you want to describe this? It's AWS underscore instance. That has to be there. But we are looking for a nickname that we can call AWS instance, right? So we can, because you could have within your environment several VMs, right? Using different platforms. Okay, so, or you want to be able to use something to identify it, right? So you can come here and say, let's do this. You can come here and say, let's call it EC2 instance. I just call it EC2 instance, just like a nickname. EC2 instance, okay? So this is just like a nickname that we've created. This could be anything, but this part has to be like this. But this could be anything, okay? So once we do this, we want to open our curly bracket and close it as usual, okay? So once you do this, enter. Then once you are in between, you can start again. Okay. So what do you want to specify, right? So what we want to specify is to use this as guide, right? Name tags will deal with this much later because of the format, right? So we'll deal with this much later, but we could also choose to place it here. Let's see what we get out of it, right? So the first thing we want to look at, we could say, oh, tags, right? Once say tags. So for tags, we want to come in here and say tags. Let's just show something here and say tags, right? So under tags, right? This is your tags, right? You can say tags. So tags could have several options, right? Let's look at this. See, tags could have, you can add additional tags, right? Right now it's name tag. You can have additional tags and say, oh, we want to call this environment tag, right? So these are possibilities, right? Environment can create different tags, right? So because of this possibility of creating different tags, we want to put this in an order testing. We want to put this open curly brackets, right? And close it, right? So this relates to just the tags, right? This relates to just the tags. So it closes here, right? It relates to just the tags. So we want to go in between. And say, so what are the tags that we have, right? So the tags that we have could be more than one, right? Maybe let's say we have name, which is the default tag, right? Name equal, let's say we want to call this name is the name we want to give it is first by Terraform. That's the name of the file, by Terraform, so that we know that it was created by Terraform user, right? Can say this first by Terraform, but you want to put it in quotation, right? You can see without the quotation mark, it's just looking bland, but now it's showing that, oh, this has a mission. So now that we've done that, what else do we want to do? We want to scroll down. Let's go to the EC2 as if we are trying to create an instance. We've dealt with this. So what it means is that if we had more than one tag, let's say we have the environment tag, as we were looking at before, we'll need to come in here, and after this, we need to specify the next tag and say what it is, right? So, but this time around, we're just working with a tag, okay? So now that we've established this, so what else do we need to do? Remember, this tag opens and closes here, okay? So we need to go after this to click enter, right? To be able to specify what comes next, okay? So now, what do we need to look at, okay? What do we need to look at? So let's see our instance. This is just to give us a guide, right? To know what we are doing. So the next thing is to look at the AMI, right? What AMI are we using, right? Let's say we want to use Red Hat Server. So this Red Hat Server will have its own AMI ID. You can see it here. So we can copy this, for example. Okay, that's the AMI, right? The AMI ID of the AMI we want to use. So if you select something else, see that it will have a different AMI ID. Okay, so Red Hat is what we want to use. So you can see that's the AMI ID, which I have copied. Okay, so now that we've copied that, I want to come here and say AMI is what I'm defining now. AMI, right, equals, then I put my quotation mark, open and close. Then I want to put the AMI ID in there. So I've done that. Let me take this back. Okay. So it's in order. So that's the AMI. I put the AMI in there, right? See, it starts with A and ends in BB. Let's confirm that just to be sure we are still on track. It starts with A and ends in BB. Okay, that's fine. So the next thing we want to do is to look at what comes next, right? What comes next? We have the instance type. Okay, so instance type. For instance type, we say instance, right? Underscore type. So when there's a space, you replace the space with underscore, okay? Space, then equal to. So what's the instance type we want? So for the purpose of this exercise, the instance type we want is T2 micro, free tier eligible, right? So that's the instance type we want. So I want to come in here and specify that in my script, okay? Instance type, I want to specify T2.micro. So I'll provide this on GitHub, access to this on GitHub so that you can look at it, modify it, make it your own, right? And even practice with it. So T2.micro, that's what we are creating. So we'll put it in the quotes. So what else are we going to do? So once we do this, we'll scroll down. Let's look at the other fields, right? So what comes next? Creating of security group, right? We can create a new security group, but because this is being done on the script, right? So we want to use an existing security group, right? If you use an existing security group, let's see the security groups we have available. But before then, let's see other options. Okay, so for security group in particular, so let's see what we'll need to do. For security group, so we specify security groups. Okay, did I skip something? Just let me see. So before security group, right? So we need to have the key name, right? For us to be able to proceed. For example, let's say I'm using Ademola. What do you think I'll do? So I need to specify Ademola. So I'll come in here to the script and say key underscore name, right? Key underscore name. So the key name equal to that I want to use is Ademola. I open this quote. I put Ademola, right? Ademola. Okay, so once I put this, I come down. So what's the next thing we are looking at? We are looking at security groups. T underscore groups. Security underscore groups. So for security underscore groups, we put equal to. What is important, we put this block, right? Not just the quotation, right? So we need to put in this block, otherwise there'll be issues along the way. Okay, so that's that. So you want to come in here and put your quotes within, okay? So within that, you can now put the security group that you want to use, okay? So because we are trying to make it simple, we'll not create a security group using this, right? So all we need to do is to go down and use an existing security group, because we won't take it from the simple part. Then as we progress, as we understand it better, then we can explore further options. So I want to use existing security group, right? Which is what you definitely want to do even at work, right? So existing security group, let's look for the available security groups. Let's see. Okay. Other than that, is there any other thing we need to do before we launch the instance? Nothing else, right? After putting the security group, we'll leave the storage as it is default and all of that. Then we launch instance, right? So this is what we would have done. So let's go and check security groups to see the different security groups we have. and select one of them, okay? I have just so many security groups. So let's look at this security group, which is Launch Wizard 24, right? Launch Wizard 24. So let's see inbound rules that we have for this. Depending on what I want to do, inbound rules, I have SSH, which is important. We have all the ports open for this. So let me check out another one. Let me check out Launch Wizard 30. Let's see what we have here. Let's see, Launch Wizard 30, inbound rules. I have SSH, okay. This looks like either a Jenkins or a Tomcat server. Okay, so that's fine. So I can use this. So I want to go in there and let me paste Launch Wizard 30 exactly as it is and to paste it in here, right? So you see the difference between this and these other ones is that these security groups has this block, right? It has this block in between. So that's it. So that's what we have here. So now that we've done this, I believe we've done really fine, right? So let's escape, column WQ. So we save this. Now that we've saved it, what do we need to do? Remember, we've initialized Terraform in this directory. So what else do we want to do? There's a command which I called the attention to earlier, the Terraform space FMT command. Terraform space. Remember, let me show you something before I run that command. Cat first.tf, right? This is what the file looks like at the moment, right? It's not looking so good, right? It's just awkward, right? This is what it looks like right now, right? So I want to use the Terraform format command, right? To reformat this, let it look good, right? So I say Terraform FMT, right? Because I've initialized Terraform in this directory. So I can run Terraform commands. So I run this, it's formatted, right? Let's cut that file again. Let's cut that file, first.tf. You see, it's better organized, right? You can see region. So it has formatted, that's reformatted that file. So now I want to copy this and take it to where we can keep it for share, right? We'll put it here. Let's put it here. We created a file called first.tf. So let's paste this there, right? So this is first.tf. So we've created this. So this is the file. So we can have it saved here. So it's saved up in my desktop, right? So this directory is in the desktop. So it's saved up there. So let's see. So that's fine. So now what else can we do, right? We've checked this out. So we've run our second Terraform command. So what else can we do? So let's clear the screen. So the next thing we can do is to validate, just to be sure that the syntaxes, everything we have in there is correct so far. So we can say Terraform validates, right? Terraform validates. Terraform validates, okay? So missing provider, Terraform validates, so this is good. So let's see, let's vim into the file, tells us provider is missing. How is that? We chose provider, this is it. How is it missing? Okay, let's take a look at it. Provider says AWS, right? Okay, so that's provider up there. How is it missing? And we specified AWS instance, missing provider. So let's go back there and see the error message. says you will be able to install it automatically by running Terraform init. Did we not do this already? We initialized Terraform, didn't we? So let's do it again. Terraform init. That we did. Terraform init. Init. Okay. Okay. Successfully initialized. So we've initialized Terraform. So let's run the command again, right? So Terraform validates, okay? Unsupported block type, tags, line 8. So let's see what the issue is. So you can see with validation, you're able to unsupported tag type, tags, line 8. So what's wrong with this? Name, first by Terraform. So let's take out the tag. Unsupported tag type. Let's see it again. WS just Q, right? Since we didn't make any modification. Tags, line 8. Tags, line 8. Oh yeah. Sorry about that. Tags, okay. I should have equal to insert. So I should have equal to sign here, okay, before the tags. Before this sign, I should have equal to sign, okay? Insert. So here I should have equal to, right? Insert. 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 I come here, put equal to sign, right? So the equal to sign was missing here. Okay, so now I believe we are okay. WQ. Okay, so now that we have this, let's validate again. At least you see what validation does. It's able to tell us what is wrong. Okay, now it says the configuration is valid, right? So it pointed our attention to where the issues are, so, and we're able to fix the issues. Okay, so now that we've done that, so what else can we do? So we've looked at the first command, Terraform init, right? The next command, Terraform format, right? To format the file. So what changes have we made? Let's just update the changes. Cat. Let's see, cat. So this is our new file. So let's just copy the updated one. We introduced the equal to sign here, right? So what else did we do? That's about all. So let's just copy this. So everything is fine now. We've validated and we see everything is okay. So we want to copy this and replace what we have here. Okay, so want to replace everything we have here with that, right? So okay, so that's paste. So we have equal to sign here. So that's the only thing that's changed. So now we can proceed with our business. So we've looked at three commands: Terraform init, Terraform format, and Terraform validate, which has helped us to identify some things we omitted, right? Or just one thing we omitted. Okay, so now that we've done that, let's come back here, right? And clear, okay? So let's clear. So now that we've cleared, let's look at another command, right? This command we want to look at is Terraform plan. Terraform plan. Okay, what Terraform plan does is that it looks at the file, the .tf script that we have, and tells us what is in it, what needs to happen, right? To add, right? To change, nothing to change, to destroy, nothing, right? So to add, right? Based on what it sees in the file, it says that, oh, there's need to launch an instance. That's why it says to add one, okay? So that is it. So it tells us that if we want these actions up here, we should run Terraform apply, right? Terraform apply, that's the next command we want to look at. But this Terraform apply has Terraform validate built into it, okay? So let's clear and try to run Terraform apply now. Clear? So let's see Terraform apply, okay? Terraform apply. What does Terraform apply do? So with Terraform apply, it creates what we want it to create, right? You can see this top part up to this place has to do with Terraform plan, right? This is what we saw the other time when we checked, right? Terraform plan. So it's now asking, do you want to perform these actions? Terraform will perform the actions described above. Yes, will be accepted to approve. So I type yes, because I want Terraform to perform that action. So yes, see, AWS instance underscore instance creating, right? Just remember when we put AWS underscore instance, then the name won't call it, right? So you can see it's creating, right? Creating instance. So let's go to AWS. So remember, how many instances do we have running? We have just one running and 13 instances. Let me be sure that this one has not joined the queue. So first by Terraform, spending, you can see the script we ran is already creating an instance. So now we have 13 instances and we should have 2 running when we check now. So first by Terraform, you can see, let's go back here to see what's happening. See, apply complete, resources 1 added, right? 1 Terraform script. 1 Terraform script has created that instance, right? So we have an AWS EC2 instance created by running that script. So this way, we've looked at how to create a script and how to run the script to create an instance, right? So that is a start, right? There's still more for us to, there are still more things for us to look at under this. We'll look at, because what we've done today is to add code all the way, right? As time goes on, we should also see how we can do this without add coding, right? So now, what else can we do? Okay, you said we can create with Terraform, we can update with Terraform, that's modify, right? So let's say we look at this as scripts, right? Let's see what we have here, ls. You see, this is the script we created, right? And after we created, this state was generated based on this apply that we, right, that we did, right? Terraform.state.tf state, right? So that was generated. So now, what can we do? Let's go back to that script that we created, right? Let's make some changes to it. Let's vim into first, yeah, let's zoom into first.tf, right? So this is a file. Let's say we want to make a modification to this, right? And let's say, let's change the tag name. Let's let's update the tag name. Let's update the tag name. We can say first provisioning. We can say first infrastructure by. Let's just say this first infrastructure by Terraform, right? First infrastructure by Terraform. Let's save this, right? So let's go over the script again, just for some clarity. Provider, you specify AWS, it could have been Google, depending on the provider. The region, which we got, where we want to create our instance in, US-east-1, we put it in quotes. The access key, which we generated by creating a EC2 full, Amazon EC2 full access, right? We got access key, we got secret key. So these are those items. So you see, if we mistakenly decide to remove this code, then let me just insert, right? If you mistakenly remove this code, you see everything changes. It changes everything, right? So this tells us that there's a mistake somewhere. Okay, so you come here, right? You do this. So for example, when we took out this, although it didn't point out anything, that's why we missed it. So we should just take notes and look at this resource. We are trying to create an EC2 instance, right? So that's AWS. It has to be provider underscore, what are we trying to do? Instance, right? This has to be like this. You can't change it. If you change it, will it work? It won't work. But this particular one, you can call it whatever you want to call it, right? So look at that. Look at that. So the changes we've made is this under the tag, right? So what we have here at the moment is first by Terraform, right? First by Terraform. Okay, so that's what we have here. So if you come here and we'll come back here, right? We've changed it to first infrastructure by Terraform. So if for any reason you mistakenly put instances here, right? You see that we'll get an error when we try running this script, but we can just try it, right? Just for us to establish some points, okay? So the AMI, Amazon Machine Image that we are using is this. So we copy the code for Red Hat. Instance type, T2 micro, put it in quotation, and key name, Ademola, then this is the security group we are using, right? So we can as well come here and change security group, right? But we are not doing that. We are just trying to update. The update we are doing is this. And now let's assume that we've made a mistake. This should not be EC2 instances, right? We agreed, but it should be EC2 instance. So let's say we put EC2 instances. Let's see the error we'll get, okay? So we want to say escape, column, WQ, okay? So we deliberately made that mistake. So let's run. So now, if you want to run without getting that option for saying yes or no, right? For selecting yes before the process is completed, you can add this flag, auto dash approve, right? Auto approve. You want to add this flag, right? So once you add this flag, it just goes straight, but this time we are going to get an error, right? So the error we got is on line 7, the resource AWS underscore instances, right? It says an invalid resource type. It means the provider does not support resource type AWS underscore instances. So this has to be exactly this way, okay? So it doesn't support the resource type AWS underscore instances. So now let's go and make the modification and put in what should be there. So let's put it as AWS instance, okay? So now it's going to work. And remember, what we are targeting is to see a modification happen, right? First by Terraform, we've changed it to first infrastructure by Terraform. Okay, so let's go back and see what we get. Okay, so let's save this, escape, column WQ. So let's save that. So let's save that. So now that we've saved it, let's run that command, Terraform apply dash auto dash approve. Okay, we don't want it to bring that option of yes or whatever. We just want it to go straight to the point. Okay, so we run this and wait for it to get done, right? So now we can see apply complete, resources, right? 0 added, nothing was added, but 1 changed, right? And 0 destroyed, okay? So there's been a change. So let's see what this change is. So let's go back to our AWS. Let's refresh and see what has changed. Now you can see we have first infrastructure by Terraform. First infrastructure by Terraform. So what else can we do, right? We've created this infrastructure. It looks good and, so what else can we do? Now, let's say we do not need this again. We don't need this infrastructure again. We want to let go, right? So, and you could have as many as 50 instances, right? You don't want to start terminating them one after the other. You want to be able to run a script, right? To get everything done. So you want to use a command in Terraform to get this done. Okay, so that command, let's clear this. So that command is Terraform destroy. Terraform destroy. Okay, so use Terraform destroy. If we run this way, it will prompt us to enter yes, right? And if we don't want to do that, want everything to get automatically done, we can add auto dash approve. Okay, so this is an option, right? We can either run it like this so that it doesn't prompt us to enter anything. Let me comment that, right? So we can either run it like this so it doesn't prompt us to enter anything, or we run it as this. So this way it prompts us to enter. It prompts us to enter yes, right? That, oh, do you want to destroy or something? So you see, it's saying yes, only yes will be accepted to confirm. There's no undo, okay? Right, let's go back here. You see we have our server running, right? We have it running here. So let's see what happens when we run, say yes, right? We want to say yes, and let's see what happens. So come here and say yes. So it's destroying the instance. Destroying. So while it's destroying, let's take a peek and see what's happening here. Let's refresh. Still destroying. You see, it's gone. It's no longer running. So let's see everything we have. Instances. You see, first infrastructure by Terraform terminated. Okay, let's look at it here. So it's destroyed. You can see this resource is destroyed. Complete, destroy complete. 1 destroyed. Okay, so let's see. Remember when we did ls, what did we see? We have this, and now a backup has been generated, right? So a backup has been generated. Initially, we had just terraform.tf state, right? Now we have terraform.tf state.backup. Okay, now, thank you for your time. In the next session, we are going to look at some more complicated, I shouldn't say complicated, look at more examples dealing with EC2-user. Thank you.